Hi, I'm Shari Coatney. I'm the President and CEO of SKIL, and I am excited today to talk to you about SKIL and our history and where we've came from. About 16 years ago, there was a Kansas Disability Caucus that occurs every 2 years in the state of Kansas, and it's a place where people with disabilities get together and share their focus and their dreams for what changes need to happen and what's going on in the state, and we've moved forward the disability movement by the input that is gathered. And at that caucus, they were talking about the underserved populations in Kansas that didn't have access to services. So the idea of creating an independent living center in Southeast Kansas came to be. And from that point, a few people from Southeast Kansas that had significant disabilities got together and wrote a grant to the state of Kansas and become funded. So now we have existed and grown from that point on. The original grant was for $100,000, and the state's focus was for us to serve anywhere from 40 to 50, maybe 60 people with that $100,000. From that time, SKIL's grown to a much larger budget, and we serve around 4,000 people a year. And I think that no one had the expectation that we would grow this large or the need was this great, but apparently it was. And so we've been a very big part in moving the disability movement into Southeast Kansas and empowering people to grow. And since then, SKIL has grown to serve the entire state of Kansas for the most part in many different aspects, and become the leaders in the disability movement as a whole, not just in Kansas, but across the nation. And we're very proud of that. In the beginning, it was just the original state grant, and we just did a lot of outreach and empowerment by educating people about disability and about the 4 core services at that time. Since then, we've adopted a 5th core service of deinstitutionalization, and that came to be in Kansas at about the year of 2005. So we're very excited about that. It was something that we already did, so moving that as a core service was not any great challenge to our center or to the state of Kansas. So that's when we gathered the 5th core service. We started working with people with HCBS the first year that SKIL started, but we only had one customer when I took my job. Since then, the HCBS program, which is the Home and Community-Based program, has given us our largest amount of funding, which is money that we earn through a Medicaid reimbursement program to assist people to live in their own homes. And that's probably been the biggest strength of SKIL as far as being able to grow and outreach into the community. Many people look at SKIL as either the people that do good, we're the do-gooders who take care of folks, or we're the radical advocates that protest on the street corner. But the reality is SKIL's many things between the two. We have many different services, and we really do allow our customers to come in and drive what it is that we need to be doing. So it is driven by someone coming in and saying they need help finding housing, or they need help making their home accessible, or they need to get a wheelchair for their grandma who just fell and broke her knee. Those kind of things drive what we do and how we focus. We have developed many programs over the years based on this input from people in the community, as well as by the community members. When community members come to us and talk to us about needs within the community, we've taken that information back to our board of directors and to our management team and to the full staff and customers, and hope to be able to develop the best programs possible. And I think that we've been able to do that by just taking that input and allowing us to grow. I think that the community's been good to us. We've had a lot of opportunities offered to us. We've had a lot of support. We have a lot of donors who give to us both in kind, through moral support, through just standing up for us when others don't understand what we do. But we also get a lot of monetary support from the community as well, and I think that's wonderful. Most people who come into contact with us don't have any understanding until something happens in their life or somebody that they know, and then they remember what we do, and that's when we gain respect. And so one person at a time, we've been able to gain respect within the community, and there's always work to be done. So we realize we don't have 100% of support in each of our communities, because we continue to do the things that the people don't understand, such as advocate and fight for people's rights with day-to-day life. We're known as the people who file lawsuits, and we will. We work with communities and the cities, and I remember many years ago when we went out to each of the cities and talked to the person that was supposed to be in charge of ensuring that the ADA was being enforced. And we told them that, we were going to work with them to see that those things were done. And if, in fact, they didn't want to work with us, they'd work against us, because we were going to continue to do that. And some cities embraced us and worked with us and, met with us and figured out what they could do and wrote their transition plans so that, we knew that the modifications necessary in their communities to assure access to people were met. Other communities just pulled up and decided not to do anything. And so, that led to many years of negotiation and then finally into lawsuits. And we filed several lawsuits within our communities, but the outcome has always been good. There's always a year or two of negative feelings and a lot of press, good and bad, about those things, but in the end, we get what we want, which is, we get accessible communities, and then we also have a cooperating relationship with them, and they learn that we are an asset, and that when they get ready to do something new, if they just get the input up front, then transition is much smoother. And the board had a view. We had a retreat about 3 or 4 years into the existence of SKIL with the board of directors, and the board at that time decided that they wanted every community to know what SKIL was. We served 8 counties at that time, and the county where the main office was, which is Labette, they knew all about SKIL, but the other surrounding counties only knew a little. And so the board had a vision of having an office in every county, and if possible, every community. So we have worked and strived over the years to try to make that happen, and that's how we've grown into having all of our branch offices that we have today. And in the culture of Southeast Kansas, it does seem that if you aren't a part of their community, if you don't have a storefront and local folks working in the office, you really aren't a part of their community. You're an outsider coming in. So it's really helped our success as well, helped us outreach to a lot of people that we would never have reached before, just by having their neighbors be the people who are actually there to provide the information and services. Some of the great things and great decisions that were made, not because they probably were made on purpose at that time, but just have worked out to be good decisions, is that we decided to locate our businesses all downtown, not in residential areas, not on the outskirts of town, or not where the rent was necessarily the cheapest, but right in the hub of the community. So in each of our offices are located right in the middle of the town, right downtown in the business district. The decision was actually made because we thought it would be better for our customers if we were in the center of each of the communities, make it easier for people to access us, to locate us. And transportation, of course, is always a big issue in Southeast Kansas, so also making it the center, making it easiest for everybody to get to the office. But it also has made us a true part of the community, and it's been a wonderful force to be a part of the downtown community as far as getting us respect and support and just being a part of the face of that community. We also have an open door policy, and this is good and bad. It's part of our culture that our customers come and go freely. There is no appointment setting, no strict environment. You don't feel like you're walking into a dentist office or a doctor's office or a professional building for that matter when you come into our office. It's very laid back, and it's driven by our customers. So they come and go freely. We try to keep our doors to our offices open unless, we happen to be on a conference call or something that we need, a quieter environment for. But that way the customers feel like we are a part of them and that we are a family environment, and it keeps us focused on what we're there to work on. We're not just there to push paper and to dot I's and cross T's, and we're really there to focus on people. And so the open door policy makes it sometimes a little chaotic to get your work done, but it also keeps us very focused on what we are, and it gives our customers a sense of belonging, and that's very important to us. We did a internal review a few years ago, and the thing that the customers told us they valued the most about all the things that we do, getting people out of nursing homes, getting people set up in their own homes, keeping them in their own homes, modifying their bathrooms so that they can have independency, building ramps to their homes, getting them power chairs, all the many, many things, fighting for legislation for their rights, just the billion aspects of SKIL. The most important thing that they got from us was the socialization opportunities that we offer them. And it really floored me, but it also made me feel real good that we'd done that, again, without a conscious effort. It isn't even something that we track. But with the open door philosophy and the fact that people can come in and just socialize in our building and be a part of a family unit, and then we offer them opportunities through our socials that we have. We have advocacy picnics annually that are a big to-do in every county, and we also have their advocacy meetings once a month where people can get together and talk about issues within the community or peer support with one another about just issues they're going through. That was the most important thing that we did for them. And so that made me feel really good that my staff are doing a great job being a part of the culture, not just serving the culture, that we truly are a family and a movement, and I think that that's probably one of our biggest strengths, and it causes us to have a lot of loyalty to and from our customers, and I think that that's makes people have great pride in their work when they feel like they really do belong and that they're not just pushing paper, that they really are making a difference in people's lives every day just by being there. The other thing about SKIL's culture is that it's a very relaxed environment. In fact, this is probably the most formal thing that we've ever done. We have a lot of fun in the hallways. Anything kind of goes. We try never to offend one another, but at the same time we try to have a good time, and I think that also helps the customers. We don't wear suits and ties unless we have to go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, or even then suits and ties are probably pretty optional. When I first got my job, the staff asked if there was going to be a dress code, and my answer was absolutely. The dress code is that you never wear anything that offend anybody else, and that's it. And so we look like our customers look like we look, and people come in and it's very relaxed and it's fun, and you're going to hear laughter and you're going to hear, all sorts of emotions, but it's all accepted because the relaxed environment is very important. And I think it's part of the Southeast culture as well. By law, the federal government has stated that independent living centers need to be made up of 51% of their staff have to be people with significant disabilities. And that's because the philosophy is that, of course, it's an empowerment entity, and so you must empower people within to work and to lead. And so that was part of the reasoning behind the state and federal law of 51% of people with disabilities. SKIL strives to hit a little higher than that. We try to strive for at least 70% of the people having disabilities. Our entire management team, as far as the top management, with our director level positions, are 100% people with disabilities. Again, the law only states that it has to be 51%, but SKIL strives to have 100%. We really believe that we are the people we work for, and if we don't strive for higher numbers, we could become like everybody else, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that when we write policies and when we make rules and when we are going out and providing services, or when we're trying to change the world to make it a better place for people to live with disabilities, that we really are those people, and we're not doing things for people, we're doing things with people. That's part of our philosophy, and it's something that we strive hard to do. Disability etiquette is always a sensitive thing. People who are considered to be able-bodied or not familiar with the disability movement, and they come into an environment where there are a lot of people with a lot of different disabilities, and a lot of times they just don't know how to act. And I think the number one rule with disability etiquette is just to be yourself and not to be oversensitive. Because if you're talking to a person who is blind and you say, "Did you see that?" they're not going to go, they're not going to get mad and throw their arms up in the air and think that you're an insensitive boob. They really are going to go, they'll either make a joke and say, "No, I can't see anything," or they'll say, "Yeah, I seen that," because they see it in their own way. It is important, though, to talk to people at their own level. When people have personal care attendants, a lot of times the society likes to talk to the person who's with them, like the person with a disability isn't as important or at their level. And I think it's important to always talk directly to the person with a disability. Even if you're talking to a person who is deaf and they have an interpreter, when you speak, you're supposed to look at the person you're talking to. The interpreter's there as a tool. And when the interpreter's speaking to you, it's okay to look at them. You're not going to offend anybody if you look at the interpreter when they talk to you. That's human nature, to look at who's speaking. But remember that your conversation is actually with the person who is deaf. And people, if they run over your toe, it's okay to say ouch. It's okay to say excuse me if they're blocking the hallway. They're just people, and I think that's the biggest thing you have to overcome. When you speak to somebody, though, it's okay to sit in the chair so you're talking to them at their level, so they're not to look up to you. But, if there's no chair available, again, there's no great offense done. Don't lean on a person's chair. It's like somebody leaning on you. And it's okay if they ask you not to do that. That's the other thing. The person with a disability has to know that it's okay to communicate what's comfortable for them and what's not comfortable for them. I have a son with a disability. People like to talk down to like he's not intelligent because he has autism and his communication is really, really hard to understand. So people like to talk down to him like he's an infant or a child. And he gets creatively offended at that. So I think it's remembering that we're all equal. That's the big key. Just be yourself and remember these are your equals. People with disabilities just have different abilities. And so you don't focus on what's wrong with the situation, that person doesn't talk like you or that person doesn't look like you or that person doesn't walk like you. It's really about that's just a person and they do things differently than you. But they're still a person and they're still your equal. So as long as we all act equal, we'll make a change in society one person at a time by showing that example. And that's really our main goal, is to build a world of equality.